In this lesson, we're going to work on the boots. Alright, so in the last lesson, we went ahead and we extracted out this base for the boots. And what I want to do is I want to show you how we can reduce its polygon count, bring that into a 3D software package, and go about retopoing it to make it easier to sculpt. So with something like this, you could go ahead and sculpt it into boots, and it would take a little bit of work to do, but I like to get things going a little bit faster, especially when I have a mixture of organic and hard edges. So the boots, the soles of the boots are going to be hard edged, okay, and they need to be a little bit sharper and things like that, whereas the top, it can be very flexible and organic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of one of these boots as it's not really needed. So to do this, let's go to our subtool and scroll down. We're going to go to split. Now inside of split, you're going to see split to parts, and it's going to recognize there are multiple parts here or multiple elements, and it's going to split those into two different parts. So you see boot 1 and boot. So let's go ahead and select boots, and let's delete that one out. Okay, now I'll show you how we'll get it back here in just a little bit. So we just want to work with the 1 here. Now with this, I want to reduce its polygon count. So I'm going to go to geometry, and I'm going to go to Z Remesher. Now in Z Remesher, there are a couple of different parameters that we can begin to adjust here, but I'm really just worried about this polygon count right here. Now you'll see that it says 5. Now what that means is it's increments of 1,000, so it's 5,000 polygon count. So as of right now, the polygon count for this guy is around, well, actually total is 11 million, but this is 5,000 points. So I want to just reduce that, and I'm going to take it down to its smallest value. So I'll say 0.1 on that. We're going to go ahead and make this adaptive, but I want my polygons to have this almost the same shape. And so I'm going to take my adaptive size down to 20. And what that will do is it'll try to make the polygons a little more rigid, still keeping the shape, but trying to make them about the same size. Now with that, we'll just simply hit Z Remesher, and you'll see that that comes out there. If we hit Shift F on this, you can see the polygons that it's created. You can see the topology of that, and it's pretty good for the most part. There are a couple of things that I would definitely want to change about this, and I can't really do it that well right here inside of ZBrush. I'm a little more comfortable with doing it in something like 3ds Max or Maya, whichever 3D software package you prefer. And so to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go up to Go Z, and what it's going to do is it's going to bring that into our 3D package, and whichever one we have set to by default. So it should bring up 3ds Max. For you, if this is the first time you've ever used GoZ, it's going to bring up some options. It's going to ask you about where these different 3D software packages are. It's going to try to detect them, and then you need to tell it which ones you want to use. And you'll also select your default. In my case, I've selected 3ds Max. Let me go ahead and bring this up here, and you'll see that the boot has come in here. Now, with this boot, you can see that it has come in, and really quickly what I want to do is I want to create a duplicate of it. And actually, let me hit, there we go. I'm going to hit Control Z. What it does is I have one that I've already finished here, and with that, let me grab my move brush. I'm just going to move that out of the way. I have one that I've already finished and retopoed and everything, and it takes just a little bit of work to get that done. And so I'm just kind of showing you one over the other, but this is the one that we've brought in. Now with this brought in, the first thing that we would want to do is we want to determine the sole of the boot itself. So I'm going to come in with polygon mode, and I'm going to start deleting polygons right off of the bottom of the boot. Okay, so I'll start out here, and let's see, we can go on to this, and we'll start coming around. And then you're going to notice something happening to my polygons. You'll start to notice that they start to loop, and that's a bit of a problem for me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these polygons right here, and I'm going to hit delete, okay, on those. And then I'm going to try and figure out how to get this row of polygons right here into just a single loop. Okay, and so one way of doing that would be to break the loop and get it to go into what you want it to go into. So I'm going to delete that polygon right there, and I'm going to take this edge right here. I'm going to hold shift and drag that out. It's going to start to create a polygon. Now I'm going to go to vertex mode, and I'm going to target weld this vertex down to here. So we'll go from here down to here, and then from here down to here. All right. Now let's go ahead and go to border mode, and I'm going to select this border right here. And that's going to select that very bottom polygon. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and say make planar in the Z, and that's going to flatten that out. Now as you come in, you can go to vertex mode. You can make a couple of changes. You can start to change up the shape of that a little bit. That might be helpful to do. Okay, so kind of just start to switch that up a little bit. Change its shape. That's looking good. Now we have this triangle here that I want to get rid of at some point. Now what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go ahead and go to polygon mode. I'm going to actually take this one and delete it out. And actually let's take all of these out. Delete that little section there. I'm going to go to vertex mode. I'm going to target weld from here to here, and then take that vertex and pull that back up. So it kind of creates this little sock, and you can see that I have this loop of polygons that goes all the way across. And I'll just start to make some quick adjustments to its shape, and there we go. So something like that. Great. Now I can go ahead and take this edge right here, and I could hold control and backspace and get rid of that, and then I'll just simply go to border mode, select that polygon, and I'll cap that. Now for you, if you are getting something a little bit different, that's okay. You just need to make sure that you're retopologizing your geometry, so that way you get quads all the way across. Okay, so it can look something like this. Now don't worry about the smoothing or anything like that. We're not going to need to get into all of that. Okay. Couple of other things. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get the bottom taken care of. We need to close that up. So I'm going to border mode. With that border selected, let's cap it. And then we'll simply go into vertex mode. And I'm going to start right here at the bottom. I'm going to start selecting vertices right across from one another and just connecting those. So I'll do this and connect. Here to here and connect. And then in here we might start getting a little tricky with some of these. So I'm just going to try and connect them just straight across as much as possible. And then we'll move some vertices around if we need to. So connect, go from here to here and connect that. All right, great. So there we have that. Now we have all quads across the bottom. Everything is all quads across this boot. So no problems. Now the only thing that we need to do is just kind of straighten up some of these and start to make adjustments to the shape a little bit. Okay, so the overall shape I feel is pretty good for this. Might just be a couple of quick things that I would want to change up about it, but not too much. Okay, we've got plenty of room here for all of this. So looking good. Now the next thing that we need to get is the heel on this. The way that I'm going to do this, I'm going to take these polygons right here, and I'm just going to simply delete them out. Okay, like so. And actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's go to edge mode really quickly. Let's select all of these edges all the way through. It's going to select that ring of edges, and I'm just going to simply hit connect on that. And then I'm going to go to polygon mode. I'm going to take these polygons, just these three, and I'm going to delete those out. Then I'm going to grab this edge right here, hold shift and drag that up. And with that up, let's go to vertex mode. And I'm going to right click and target weld this point to here, and then this point to here. And then what we need to do is we need to close all of this up. Now, it doesn't appear as though it's going to go up into this all that well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge mode. Actually, let's do, trying to think of how I want to go about doing this. Let's take this edge right here and this edge. Let's bridge those. And then all we're dealing with right now are these two triangles, and that can be dealt with very easily. So if I go ahead and hold shift, select that entire edge, and then I'm going to deselect all of these along the front. So just like that. Let's connect it with a single edge right there. And then I'm going to go to vertex mode, select this edge, or this vertex and this one, and we'll simply connect. Now watch what happens here. Select this one to this one, and connect that. And then I'm going to go to polygon mode, select this polygon and this one, so those two triangles, and delete them. Then let's go ahead and go to border mode. Select that border, which is a quad, and we can just simply cap it. Okay, and cap it. All right, perfect. So now we have this boot. We've got a nice little sole there. It's looking good. And then we could just make some quick adjustments. So I'm going to go to vertex mode. I want to select these 4 vertices. Okay, just like so. And with those selected, I'm going to make them planar in the Y direction. That's just going to straighten those up. Do the same thing for this one. Actually, all of these right here, these 4. And just straighten those up a little bit, and then I'll just kind of pull them back around as needed. Go ahead and check the shape of the boot a little bit. And I'm going to take these 3, I'm going to pull those in just a little bit, because there's this curvature that happens in the inside of the foot there. And then make any quick changes that you need to as far as the overall silhouette and the shape that you have there. And we look pretty good. Alright, great. So now that we have that retopoed, there are a couple of things that you need to do. You need to create any creases that you want and things like that. So first thing is I want to go to Edit Swift Loop, and I'm going to create a loop right here in the middle. Then I'm going to go to Edge Mode, double click on that new edge, and scale that in all 3 directions. And what that's going to do is it's going to create that pinch between the fabric and the sole of the boot. And then I'm going to pinch it in a little bit more in the X only. Just like that. Okay, so you can see that shape there. Then I need to create my creases around my hard edges. So I'm going to create one right here across the bottom of the boot, and then one right here along the bottom for that part, and then up toward the top of that as well. Just like that. Now I also need one right here. Now I'm not going to place it right here, because what will happen is it will also crease right up here in the middle of the boot. So what I'll do is I'll actually come in and create a loop right in the middle between those polygons. So that way we still stay nice and soft right here. But then I'll go to vertex mode, and I'm going to select these vertices. Whoops. I'm going to select these vertices right here and do the same thing on the other side of that. Just like that. And then I'll pull those forward just like so. Let me go ahead and make planar in the Y on those. And then if you pull those close to the edge, what will happen is it'll create a nice little crease right here. And that should be everything that I need for that. So once the boot is all finished, okay, you've retopoed it, and you've got your nice little shape, and you can see that it's fairly similar here. You may want to take the polygons across the top here of the boot. You may want to raise them up just a little bit. create some thickness on that boot there a little bit more. And also, yeah, like I said, just make some adjustments to any proportions that you need. And there we go. And so now once we're finished, oops, let's flatten out the top of that too. You hit Z on that. Turn off vertex mode, then hit Z, and then vertex mode. Select those vertices along the top edge, and I'm going to make planar in the Z just to flatten that out again. Then once we're finished, all I have to do is select it and hit Go Z. Edit in ZBrush, and it's going to bring that in. And so there's our boot, all retopoed. And then just to do a quick test, let's simply hit Control D and start subdividing that, and you'll see that it creates a very nice shape for us. Looking really good. I'm happy with that so far. And so in the next lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to start sculpting on that and getting our final details of the boot.